What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Believe it or not, I'm not dead. Although I did have to take a very, very long needed break. From YouTube, it's been a while, but from lifting, kid you not, took 2 days off. I was like, you know what? I think I can go back to working out the following Monday. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I went to bench. That bar fell on me. Guess how much was on the bar? Nothing. Took a week off and decided, you know what? We're gonna bulk one last time before I lose access to my school's infinite food supply, aka the dining hall. So I've been cooking for the past almost 4 weeks now. I'm trying to get to 170. Believe it or not, in the past 3.5 weeks, we've made some substantial progress. We started the bulk at around 153, 154-ish. We're now 167. As of today, we are now 167 pounds. That is about 14 pounds gained in less than a month. That is pretty aggressive bulk, for me at least. Okay, I've never bulked that hard. I've gained more weight than that before, but not in a month. This is pretty nuts for me. As you've read by the title, we are going over the science behind my leg day. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I switched up my training just a smidge for this bulk because I want to prioritize growth in certain portions. Unfortunately, Johnson training is not implemented into this bulk due to the fact that I've already maxed that out. We will not be going over my quad focused leg day. This is going to be a little series. So next video will be hamstrings, maybe, or back and shoulders. Actually, let me run you through the split real quick. So we've got a 3-day split that repeats after 1 day of rest. So it goes 3 days, rest, 3 days, rest, so on and so forth. That way I can get the most amount of stimulation for each muscle group. So basically, day 1, quads and calves. Then we've got back and shoulders with emphasis on the lats and the posterior / lateral deltoid. Then we've got chest and biceps with emphasis on the upper chest. Excuse me, that's my Cheerios coming back up. With emphasis on the upper pectorals and the short head of the bicep. And then we've got rest day. I know it's pretty quirky first 3 days. And then we've got hamstrings and glutes with a little more emphasis on the glutes. Then we've got back and chest with emphasis on the upper back and just overall pec growth. So that includes just pressing movements with a deep stretch at the bottom and flies. And then we've got arms with emphasis on the triceps, specifically the long head of the triceps, a little bit of short head bicep work, forearms, and some anterior and lateral head of the shoulders, of the delts. And so basically, I'm trying to get massive. The bulk ends when school ends, because after that I'm not going to have access to the dining hall, which is pretty much my source of infinite food. So yeah, today is April 16th. So on May 16th, actually, maybe 15th, depending on when my finals are, the bulk will end and the summer cut will begin, because realistically, let's be honest, no one wants to be carrying excess fat throughout the summer. Without further ado, let's get into the scientific breakdown of my quad focused leg day. And before I get into it, let me tell you something. I'm not a kinesiology major. I don't know much about exercise science, but what I do know is how to read. So anyways, let me pull up my sheet. I don't know why I started over here. Basically, let me break it down for you. The quads are made up of 4 main muscle groups: the rectus femoris, the vastus lateralis, intermedius, and medialis. And basically what they do is that they flex your leg and extend it from the knee joint. It's just the muscles going from your hip to your knee. And every time you flex them, such as running, jumping, or straining when you need to go to the bathroom, they activate. And so basically, my quad focused leg day is comprised of 4 exercises, which in my opinion, if and when done properly, should be enough to stimulate the quads and induce hypertrophy, aka making them go from this to maybe this. Maybe this if you actually try. 4 exercises include front barbell squat. But I like my compound movements. Then we've got a split squat, aka the Bulgarian split squat, the one that everyone loves. Followed up by a hack squat, because recently my school gym just got a hack squat, and let me tell you, it is the best thing on the planet. I love it. Honestly, if I could marry it, I would. If I could honestly have a child that's a hack squat, that would be pretty optimal in my opinion. To top it all off, we do calves, because on this channel we are no longer neglecting calves. I'm saying this as a personal statement. We do not skip calves anymore. Anyways, the average gym goer will hear that and be like, wow, cool, this guy's got big quads, he's got to know what he's talking about. But to those of you who are bookworms and want to study things like me, basically freaks of nature, let me get someone smarter than me to help you out with the scientific explanation. Alright guys, let's talk science here. So basically, there's a scientific reason for every single exercise that I just listed. So we're going to start off with the front squat. The front barbell squat, as the name says, has the bar placed in front of your body rather than behind you. And what I mean by that is that the bar actually rests on the front of your delts and a little bit of your chest depending on how you position the bar. This shifts all the weight from your back up to like front extremities, which means that it's less strain on your lower back and your ankles. Due to the shift of gravity, this will put most of the emphasis and work on your quads and force you to have a better posture, basically engaging your spinal erectors, which are muscles that run from the top of your back all the way down your spine, hence the name. Due to the nature of the exercise, you will also be working your glutes along with your quads, but this is honestly a good thing if you ask me. This is a little more of an isolation exercise for your quads just because you're able to get a deeper stretch. But this is also very self-limiting due to the fact that you can only carry a certain amount of weight in the front of your body compared to your back, because your back is obviously a larger group of muscles combined rather than holding it up like this on your shoulders or like this, which is honestly really bad for your wrist and will honestly damage you more if you don't have a good flexibility at this position here. And honestly, this might feel better for your knees and ankles and hips even if you have low mobility. So this is honestly a good alternate. If you're not comfortable with doing a front squat, you can obviously switch to goblet squats or dumbbell squats. Now, when it comes to getting your stance right, you can honestly approach it many different ways. You can stay nice and narrow or be a little more scientific and optimal. Flare your feet out so that way your knees can go out and follow a natural range of motion, a V stance, for those of you who don't understand this. Or you could go a wider stance and recruit more of your vastus lateralis and what was the other one? Abductor longus. Basically using your thighs more. All right, next exercise, the Bulgarian split squat. I know, it's a scary one. Everyone recommends them, not everyone does them. I know, but listen, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to put on some size. You gotta do things others are not willing to do to get ahead of the curve. I remember my first time, I was like, hey man, listen, I don't know how to do this, it's my first time. And he's like, listen man, first time always hurts. He was right. I couldn't walk the next day. But anyways, this is honestly a really good exercise if you have lower back pains or knee pains, because since it's an isolation exercise, you have to focus on keeping your form right by focusing on your stability and your core strength. And since it's an isolation exercise, you get to also prevent any muscular imbalances. So what I'm saying is, next time you go to squat after doing these, you're not going to be pushing up with one leg and the other one's kind of off to the side doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And due to its greater range of motion, it's great for size. I mean, just look at my quads. You can tell that clearly I do Bulgarian split squats. And honestly, depending on what your range of motion is and how you position yourself, you can also make it a little more biased for your hamstrings and glutes. But that's a little more advanced and not what we're looking for. But overall, this is a great exercise to hit all three heads of the quad, the lateralis, medialis, and intermedius. And you can also recruit your rectus femoris as well. I will say this though, you do want to be careful with your posture and positioning, because if you lean too forward or too upright, you can be putting unnecessary stress on your knees, back, and even support leg, which is kind of the opposite of what we want to do. Believe it or not, that is not optimal. Anyways, that's a normal way to do a Bulgarian split squat. What I do is a little more advanced. So if you're a beginner, I wouldn't really recommend this until you get the basics down. But if you're someone who's mentally unstable or enjoys leg day, which by the way, those two go hand in hand, or someone that just wants to, take their training up a notch, you can do the following. Something to elevate your front foot as well. Because by having both your support leg, the rear leg elevated, and your front leg elevated, it allows you to go farther down and get a deeper stretch on your quads. I know, I'm putting you guys onto some real sauce right now. That deeper stretch is amazing. Let me tell you, ever since I started doing them, I have not looked back. I cannot do them without it anymore. It gives you such an amazing stretch and burn, and I can guarantee you your quads will grow. If they don't, either you're doing them wrong, you're weird, or you're just not blasting enough gear. I mean training hard enough. All right, hold on, I gotta cross my legs. All right, this is really comfortable. My nuts are being squished. Last exercise for the quads here, the hack squat. Now, if you're wondering what a hack squat is, imagine the leg press, but inverse and on an angle, and it's pretty much just a barbell squat, but not in a barbell squat because it's like a leg press but standing up to imitate the barbell. You know what I'm saying here, right? Anyways, point is, the hack squat is a great machine to isolate your quads because it's supposed to simulate a machine version of a squat. Now, due to the fact that it's a machine, it allows for more stability on your upper back and hips, and believe it or not, this greater stability makes it a lot safer, and you can push to failure on this without the risk of, dying with like 500 pounds on your back. And that's pretty much it. It's just another version of a squat, but a lot safer and on an angle. It also requires less ankle mobility too, believe it or not. But that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. The moral of the story here is, the more quad stretch you can get, the better, because that quad stretch really just beats just on the muscle, you know what I'm saying? The more you on the muscle, you know what I'm saying? The more you do that to the muscle, the more it'll grow. Now, obviously, you gotta eat right, you gotta sleep right in order for growth. But I can guarantee you, these exercises or exercises similar, if trained properly, you can absolutely, without a doubt, become the next Tom Plants or even the next me. And that's a stretch, but it's possible, believe it or not. Now, if you don't have a hack squat or you can't do a hack squat, let me tell you, there's some alternates. A regular Smith machine can work. You just gotta figure out how to do it. If it's on an angle, you kind of gotta go with the angle. You gotta position your feet right. It's tricky, but if you figure out how your body moves and how to safely do it, have some spots, you can get it to work. But even goblet squats too, they're good alternates if you don't have one. Or you can just stick to the regular barbell squat and just go ass to grass with a V, with a V stance. It's good to have a combination of free weights and machines, because free weights allow for that, raw compound movement, force you to use your stabilizers and all that. But a machine also allows you to go to failure a lot safer due to the fact that you're more stable and are going through a fixed path. But obviously, not everyone moves the same. So it's in my opinion, it's good to have a combination of the both. It's like having vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream. You go like. Now, last exercise on here is calves. I don't really need to talk about that because I'm not an expert on calves. I don't have the biggest calves. What I can tell you is you can either do them at the beginning of your exercise or at the very end. A lot of people do them at the very end. It's common. But let me put you onto some sauce real quick. If you do them at the beginning of your workout, not only do you have a lot more energy to push harder on, But since they're fresh, you will get a lot more work done with them, and it puts a lot more emphasis on them. Therefore, you can grow your calves better. Oh my god, this guy's onto a whole lot of nothing! Anyways, I don't know what that guy's on about. Basically, all I'm saying is, no one needs to train calves. Realistically, why do you need calves? Why should you train them? Give me one good reason. Exactly, you can't. Anyways, with that being said, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below which muscle group I should do next, because I'm kind of wacky like that. I'm a nerd up here. But anyways, drink water, have safe sets, and this last part's optional. Not really. Blast anabolic steroids.